One of the most important things you will do in your life is healing from childhood trauma.
These days, I'm letting God handle all things above. The things I can't change are the reason you love me. Listen, you can hear them calling my name. I'm all over the place, I can't sit in one place. I'm not ashamed at all.
And it's crazy because I said this before on TikTok multiple times that 70 to 80% of people come from dysfunctional families, right? And as I've been working on myself, as I've been healing, as I've been, aligning with life coaches, I've been to therapy, I've tapped into my family system, realized that I come from a narcissistic family system, which I feel like there's dysfunctional families and then there's a next level of dysfunctional families. And when it comes to narcissistic family systems, I feel like that's the second tier. And as I tapped into that, I realized that I was the scapegoat of my narcissistic family system. So it was a lot of elements of that I didn't realize, and that subconsciously I realized, but I didn't really know what was going on. But the reason why it was so important for me, and it's probably so important for you too, heal from these specific things, is because it affects your friendships, your partnerships slash relationships. It affects how you operate out in the public. It affects everything. I come across people now, and not in a judgmental way, but I come across people now where I see that they operating from some level of trauma. And people typically, have conversations with me or open up to me, and they will tell me like certain things, right? And for the most part, and I want to show y'all this definition of perseverance. So when I first started my journey, I mentioned this a couple times on here, but when I first started my journey, I said I was going to write a book, and this was 3 years ago when I first started my healing journey. And actually, the last day of 2023, it's currently 2024 June, but the last day of 2023, I published this book, right? The definition of perseverance was on Amazon. And this was literally explaining a lot of things ever since I was a child. So, always since kindergarten, right? I explained basically my whole upbringing and the different things that caused me trauma, how I healed from them, and how I persevered through a lot of things that I went through in regards to being homeless, in regards to, a lot of different things. And I want to plug up because we're going to change location. Bow, bow, bow. We about to change location. And basically how we change the locations because if you didn't walk the path of being a scapegoat, then you won't understand it. Also, if you don't come from a narcissistic family system, then you won't understand it. If you've never had an experience with a narcissist, then you won't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a unique experience. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are throwing the word around on social media. A lot of people throw the word around in general. A lot of people call people that they can't control narcissists. A lot of people call confident people narcissists. A lot of people call egotistical people narcissists. A lot of people call Kanye West. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's a unique experience. When you truly dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with a self-centered individual. You're dealing with somebody who doesn't have the capability to love, somebody who lacks empathy, somebody who's very insecure, but they mask it very well. Somebody who comes off super confident, but they're truly not. You feel what I'm saying? Somebody that can easily persuade and take over a whole family system. You feel what I'm saying? Somebody who, if they scapegoat you, like I was a scapegoat, they can spread lies about you and get everybody to agree because they're master manipulators. They've been manipulating since they were a child. So no matter how self-aware you become or inclined to the information in regards to personal development and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter because they're so on point that your level of self-awareness, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be, you are learning the information and trying to play defense in regards to dealing with how they operate. They are the information. It's kind of like if you read 48 Laws of Power, okay, you know little things or whatever the case may be, right? They are 48 Laws of Power. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's like a different. Now, if you want to go deeper and say, like, are they evil, spirituality, blah, 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 that's a whole nother conversation. But they cause a lot of trauma, especially when you come from those type of families. That's second level. First level is just dysfunctional families. If you just come from a regular dysfunctional family, there's a chance that you could talk to your people and possibly eventually they can get out of being stuck in their ways or whatever the case may be. But it's so many other ways you can get childhood trauma, you know, from bullying, you know, you can get childhood trauma from things happening in the neighborhood, influences, you know, it's so many different ways you can get trauma. But it's just so important to work on that, heal from that, whether that's going to therapy. You got to find the right therapist. Some of these therapists haven't worked on their own childhood trauma, you know what I'm saying? Some of these psychotherapists, some of these, you know, family therapists, they haven't even worked on their own childhood trauma. So they might not be able to understand the trauma that you come from on that deep of a level. So you got to be very careful who you decide to, you know, seek help from. You feel me? Also, in regards to, you know, online content too, be careful what you indulge in on that too. But like I said, healing from trauma in general, but childhood trauma is so important because it'll almost set the blueprint for your life. If you don't heal, 9 times out of 10, like I said, jobs, relationships, all that. Like, for example, for me, realizing that I come from a narcissistic family system, realizing that, you know, I had narcissists in my family, learning about flying monkeys, learning about, it's so funny to say flying monkeys. If you don't know what it is, it's funny, like flying monkeys. Learning about enablers, you feel what I'm saying? Learning how, like I said, narcissists can turn a whole family on one individual and they'll point fingers and lie, whatever the case may be. Learning how that trauma affected me, separating from that and really working on myself and healing allowed me, like, to free myself from depression. Like, I used to have this cloud in my head and I used to not really be able to go to work. I would get emotional at work, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot going on, and I was going back to the narcissists in my family for reinforcement because they're so manipulative and they're good at it, that I'm going back to my abuser. Then I ended up dating somebody that was exactly like my abuser, which is called a trauma bond. You know what I'm saying? You have a narcissist parent or multiple narcissist parents, and then you go date one as well. You know what I'm saying? You go date somebody just as abusive and you think it's normal. You feel me? And it don't matter how, like, tough you are, defiant you are, because a lot of these behaviors or a lot of this abuse is very sneaky and covert. So it's not as black and white as you think. If you experienced it, do you know what I'm talking about? I talk about it somewhat in my book. I think it's in chapter 8. I think it's called The Relationship That Changed My Life. And like I said, I don't mention all these things in regards to my family, in regards to my past partners, in regards to old friendships and stuff like that, to be like, when me, I've been through this, whatever the case may be. That's why my book is called Definition of Perseverance. God put me through these specific things, not only to help other people, to shed light on my story. And also, I love it. I feel like it gives me like a certain type of edge. You feel what I'm saying? Everything about my story and my path has made me who I am. It was a lot of good in it, a lot of bad in it. You know what I'm saying? I was blessed to everything about it. When I break down each situation, how my mom was trying to compete with my aunt, so she gave us good qualities so her kids could compete with the aunt, with my aunt's kids. So we got good qualities out of her being selfish, trying to compete. You know what I'm saying? Every little element of it. My dad being so tough and defiant, whatever the case may be. At the time, I wasn't feeling it and we got into it. But looking back, it's like, bro, every little element that was instilled into me, even in the midst of the narcissism, even in the midst of the triangulation between my brothers and sisters, the triangulation between my cousins, how my mom was trying to, you know, get us to start stuff in it and then be like, oh, I didn't do nothing type vibes, get us to beef. You know what I'm saying? Every little element of my life, how I was different than all of them, and I was creating YouTube videos, and I was high vibrational, and everybody in my family was like, oh, Josh always doing this, but then they was low-key trying to tear me down. All of that became who I am, and it gave me a chip on my shoulder. And that's why I said, I would never want to walk another path. I say, if reincarnation is real and God bring me back, don't bring me back as no narc. You know what I'm saying? Bring me back as Josh 2.0. That probably sound mad narcissistic, but I'm for real. I'll walk this path again through not having no family, through not having people on my side, through people still currently talking about me, through dating a toxic partner. You know what I'm saying? Through having toxic friends or whatever the case may be. Let me have this again, baby. I won't want to walk this path again, but anyway, I don't say this to flex, you know what I'm saying? I don't say none of this to flex. I'm saying all of this to say that, and I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't heal. I'm saying all of this to say it's so important to heal from your trauma so you can get to the other side and so you can get to the point where you thrive. And there's going to be a lot of low moments. Like I was homeless, all that. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping on the train, being upset because of realizing my reality. But then I wrote a book about it, made music about it. Check out No Company. Google Josh Different and check out No Company. Check out Motion. I talk about it. And even Smiling in Your Face and No Safety. A lot of my songs, I reference a lot of things that happened in my life and healing, but in the midst of it, being creative through the things that I've been through. You feel what I'm saying? Writing a book, making music, making content and stuff like that. But that's another thing is beauty in creating from your childhood trauma and stuff. But yeah, all of that stuff is cool. But in reality, you really want to make sure that you heal and work on yourself so you can build new relationships, so you can create better friendships if you choose to. Some people like to be isolated or like to keep their circle small. So you don't just allow anything, you feel what I'm saying? Because especially when you come from dysfunction as well, you're conditioned to accept certain things. Or even if you don't accept certain things, then you might be on the other side of the scale where you're doing too much, where you're snapping on people, you're always trying to fight people, whatever the case. You want to become emotionally regulated. You want to become grounded. You want to be in control of who you are, how you operate, how you respond. Another thing, people read off of that. You might say, oh, nobody gonna try me, nobody gonna get over me, whatever the case may be. I was on the same type time. But then certain people will read you and they'll peep like, okay, he might not be easy to get, but he's easy to react. So I'm gonna try to keep getting him to react. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta really be able to control who you are as a person, and that comes with self-development, that comes with work, that comes with healing. You know, I had these books when I was homeless, and you know I still keep them. This right here, this is for men, but it's called the Bible Promise Book. And then I got these other ones. These were sent to my PO box by one of my followers on TikTok. This one I had myself, but somebody on TikTok sent me these. But along my journey, you know, I'm not religious, but I believe in God for sure. I believe in a higher power, and along my journey, I was connected with my Bible scriptures, raising my vibration, you know, exercising as I still do and all that, and it kept me sane through all of this. When you got your own family going against you, and the fact that a lot of my journey as a black sheep, as a truth teller, as a chosen one, whatever you want to call me, it aligns with things in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It aligns with, you know, David's journey in a sense. You feel me? How his brothers and sisters was against him or whatever the case may be. It aligns with a couple other people in the Bible, but I just want to make this video, let y'all know how important it is to heal from childhood trauma. You know, it's been a 3-year journey for me, and I've came a long way. They say it ain't changed, but one thing remains the same. Let's say no. I came a long way. Physically, mentally, for the most part. When I was younger, that's all I wanted to do. When I was young, I was just trying to figure out, like, I didn't want no kids, I didn't want no marriage. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I was surprised and I was in that long-term relationship for that long. But I was really kind of against marriage. I was really kind of against kids because I always felt like something was wrong. I felt like something was wrong. Then I realized that the people around me were the ones that was wrong. And I could never have fathomed that I would have childhood trauma on that level. I would have never fathomed that my mom was a narcissist. Would have never fathomed that my partner was, or some of my brothers and sisters. I would have never fathomed that my own folks, parents, would be turning other people against me or trying to make me out. You know what I'm saying? I would have never fathomed none of this, but I don't, like I said, I don't say none of this to say when. I say this to help other people to know, one, you gotta heal from your childhood trauma. You gotta address it, call it for what it is. Let's be real. Let's not minimize stuff or become enablers or say stuff like, oh, parents try their best. In a sense they do, but you also have to address when people are dysfunctional on a level that is out of pocket and that it persistently happens. You feel what I'm saying? It's one thing you're dealing with narcs, and there's another thing when you're dealing with just dysfunctional people. You feel what I'm saying? But y'all gotta continue to push forward, persevere. Check out my book if you want a story that's similar to yours, if you ever dealt with childhood trauma, and if you're still working on your childhood trauma, healing from childhood trauma. That's a book that you can relate to. You know what I'm saying? I wrote it myself. I published it myself. I created the cover myself with the little boy. That's me right there, isolated. Like I was creating YouTube videos, TikTok. No, not TikTok. TikTok didn't exist. When I was younger, YouTube videos and all that, I was all saying, oh, that's not really me, but it's supposed to symbolize me by myself, turned the other way with the cloud on top and my face kind of, you know what I'm saying? And this picture was when I was isolated in Idaho. I had my own little apartment out there. Shout out to my landlord that was out there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so the definition of perseverance, the scapegoat's journey to freedom. And I'm free now. I'm free. I've healed from childhood trauma for my most part. That cloud that was in my head that used to bother me when I was, you know what I'm saying, when I was working at those jobs and stuff like that. It's almost like now I can just, you know, you gotta process it because, you know, you lost all your people, but, you know, I came a long way, and that cloud that was in my head and all that is gone. So you gotta heal, you gotta move forward, and you have to accept it for what it is, and learn different tactics and behaviors so you can become a new, improved individual, and then build new friendships, new relationships, and all that good stuff. You feel what I'm saying? It's your boy Josh Different. I'm different, you different, we different. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff.